Trade was a transformative force in African history, acting as a catalyst for social stratification, economic specialization, and political centralization. While Africa participated in multiple trade networks, including the Trans-Saharan trade in the west and the Indian Ocean trade in the east, the impacts were profound and long-lasting. Rather than being a passive participant, Africa was an active engine of global commerce, supplying highly sought-after goods like gold, ivory, and iron. The following analysis evaluates these impacts across three key domains: social, economic, and political. 1. Social impact. Stratification, urbanization, and cultural blending. Trade did not just move goods, it restructured societies and created entirely new cultural identities. A rise of social stratification. As trade became a source of immense wealth, it created distinct social hierarchies based on commerce. Merchant elites. A new class of wealthy merchants emerged who often rivaled or surpassed traditional land-based aristocrats in power and influence. In city-states like Kilwa and Mogadishu on the Swahili coast, wealth derived from controlling the gold and ivory trade allowed merchant families to dominate political life. Slavery and social hierarchy. The expansion of trade, both the Trans-Saharan and Indian Ocean networks, led to a dramatic increase in the use of enslaved labor. Slavery in African societies became more entrenched, though it often differed from the chattel slavery of the Americas. Enslaved people were used as porters, domestic servants, laborers in salt mines, e.g., tagaza, and in some cases, as a form of currency. This created a stark divide between free elites and enslaved or dependent populations. The urbanization and the rise of cosmopolitan cities. Trade was the primary engine of urban growth. Cities did not emerge primarily as administrative centers but as commercial hubs. The Swahili coast, cities like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar grew from small fishing villages into wealthy stone-built cities. Their architecture, a blend of coral stone, African styles, and Arab, Persian influences, reflected their cosmopolitan nature. West African trading empires. In the Sahel, cities like Timbuktu, Gao, and Jen became legendary for their wealth and learning. Timbuktu, fed by the gold and salt trade, transformed from a seasonal trading post into a major center of Islamic scholarship, housing universities and vast libraries. See cultural syncretism and the spread of Islam. The most profound social impact of long-distance trade was the introduction and integration of Islam. Islam as a social bridge. Islam provided a unifying legal and ethical framework that facilitated trust between merchants across vast distances. African rulers and elites often converted to Islam not necessarily to abandon their traditional beliefs but to gain access to the Trans-Saharan and Indian Ocean commercial networks. Blended cultures. This led to remarkable cultural syncretism. In East Africa, Swahili culture emerged, a blend of Bantu African languages and traditions with Arab, Persian, and Islamic influences. In West Africa, rulers like Mansa Musa of Mali combined Islamic piety with traditional Malian kingship, creating a hybrid social order where Muslim scholars advised the court alongside traditional spiritual leaders. 2. Economic impact. Specialization, integration, and wealth disparity. Trade transformed African economies from largely subsistence-based systems to complex, specialized, and externally integrated markets. A regional specialization and interdependence. As trade networks grew, different regions began to specialize in goods they could produce most efficiently, creating economic interdependence. West Africa, Sahel, Savannah, specialized in the production of gold, from Bambic, Bure, and later Akan forests, and the transshipment of salt, from the Sahara. Salt was so valuable that it was often traded ounce for gold. East Africa, Swahili coast, specialized as intermediaries, exporting ivory, timber, and gold from the interior and importing textiles, porcelain, and spices from India, Arabia, and China. Central and Southern Africa, societies like Great Zimbabwe emerged as centers of gold and ivory production, trading via Swahili intermediaries to the Indian Ocean. B. Development of market infrastructure. The scale of trade necessitated sophisticated economic systems. Currency innovations. Trade spurred the development of various currencies to facilitate exchange, including cowrie shells, imported from the Maldives, gold dust, used in West Africa with standardized weights, copper ingots, and cloth currency. Commercial networks, professional merchant classes and caravan systems developed. In West Africa, the Dula, Wangara, merchants formed a vast diaspora network that spread trade, and later Islam, across the forest regions of West Africa, connecting the goldfields to the Niger River. C. Creation of wealth and inequality. While trade generated unprecedented wealth, it also created significant economic inequality. Concentration of wealth. The wealth generated by trade was heavily concentrated in coastal cities and the capitals of empires, e.g., Niani in Mali. Rulers and merchant elites controlled the most valuable commodities. Vulnerability to external shocks. Over-reliance on a single commodity, like gold or salt, made economies vulnerable. Fluctuations in external demand. Shifts in trade routes, such as the Portuguese circumnavigating the Sahara after 1498, or ecological changes could devastate entire regions. 3. Political impact. State formation, centralization, and decline. The connection between trade and political power is one of the most significant themes in African history. Control over trade routes was the primary foundation for state formation and imperial expansion. A trade as the foundation for empires in regions lacking centralized authority. Control over trade provided the resources and justification for state building. Ghana Empire, Wagadu, often called the Land of Gold, the Ghana Empire, not to be confused with modern Ghana, rose to power by controlling the gold and salt trade of the Western Sahara. The king levied taxes on all gold entering and leaving the empire, using that revenue to maintain a powerful army and administer a vast territory. Mali Empire. Mali's power was built directly on its control of three key assets: the goldfields of Bambilk, the salt mines of Tagaza, and the trading cities of the Niger Bend, Timbuktu, Gao. Mansa Musa's legendary Hajj to Cairo in 1324 showcased the immense political and economic power derived from controlling this network. Great Zimbabwe. In southern Africa, the state of Great Zimbabwe rose between the 11th and 15th centuries by controlling the gold trade from the interior to the Swahili coast. The massive stone structures, Zimbabwe, served as both a royal palace and a center for controlling trade routes. B. Taxation and state capacity. Long-distance trade allowed African states to develop robust fiscal systems independent of local agricultural tribute. Taxation of goods. Empires typically did not own the trade, they taxed it. Kings levied duties on imports and exports, collected tolls at key transit points, river crossings, mountain passes, and demanded tribute from conquered trading cities. Military power. The revenue from trade was used to fund professional standing armies and cavalry, which in turn were used to conquer more territory and protect trade routes from bandits or rivals. This created a positive feedback loop: more trade right-pointing arrow, more tax revenue right-pointing arrow, stronger military right-pointing arrow, more security and expansion right-pointing arrow, more trade. C. Political fragility and decline. The same trade networks that built states could also lead to their collapse when disrupted. Shifting trade routes. The Ghana Empire declined when the Almoravid movement disrupted Trans-Saharan routes, and later when new goldfields to the south, in modern-day Guinea, shifted trade away from Ghana's control. The Portuguese disruption. After 1498, the Portuguese attempted to circumvent the Trans-Saharan and Swahili trading networks by establishing direct sea routes. They seized key Swahili coast cities like Kilwa and Mombasa, using violence to redirect the gold and ivory trade to their own forts. This led to the rapid decline of the Swahili city-states and the disruption of inland powers like the Mutapa Empire that depended on them. Conclusion. Trade was arguably the single most influential external factor in shaping pre-colonial African societies. Its impact was twofold: a force for growth and connection. For centuries, trade enabled the rise of powerful empires, Ghana, Mali, Great Zimbabwe, the creation of cosmopolitan urban cultures, Swahili Coast, Timbuktu, and the flourishing of intellectual and religious life through the spread of Islam. It integrated African economies into a global system of exchange stretching from China to the Mediterranean. A source of vulnerability and change, the same trade systems created rigid social hierarchies, increased the practice of slavery, and made political stability dependent on the volatile conditions of long-distance commerce. The arrival of European maritime powers in the 16th century exploited these vulnerabilities, redirecting trade routes and initiating a shift that would eventually lead to the destructive dominance of the Atlantic slave trade and colonial conquest. In essence, African societies were not simply shaped by trade. They actively shaped the trade networks themselves, exercising agency in how they integrated external influences into their own social, economic, and political structures.